In this fifth video of my Bronson Tribute bike build, I will be discussing the paint, the all-seeing eye decals, the gauges, and the Sissy Bar. It's agreed that the pilot movie bikes were painted red based on the photographs used on the model box lid and on the back cover of Michael Park's record album, Closing the Gap. I had a chance to talk to the guy that actually painted the Bronson bikes for the TV series, Jerry C. He tells the story about how Michael Parks did not want to ride a red bike in the TV show and how Harley wanted the bike to be painted one of their factory colors. So a Harley rep and Jerry went to Michael Parks' house to review all the colors that Harley used on their bikes for Michael to choose from. Michael didn't like any of the factory colors, and so Jerry took Jetfire Orange, a Harley color, and added a little Harley Black and Harley Red until Michael said he liked it. And from that moment on, the official color for Bronson bikes was Bronson Red. Harley dealers used to offer Bronson Red in a quart-sized can. It was an acrylic enamel made by DuPont. Whenever a gas tank got damaged while filming, they would send it back to California to Jerry to repair, paint, and put an all-seeing eye decal on. Early on, before he got decals, he had to hand paint the all-seeing eye emblem on the tanks. However, this didn't last very long. After doing the repairs to the gas tanks, Jerry would send them back to wherever they were filming. Here is a color picture of the TV series bike on the album cover Long Lonesome Highway, compared to the movie bike photo on the back cover of the album Closing the Gap. You can see the TV bike was more orange than red. Even Jerry said that he mixed the color by hand, and they weren't always exact throughout the TV series. Speaking of exact, notice the placement of the all-seeing eye decals in these two photos, not exactly straight. As mentioned before, the pilot movie was based on a real person, Bernie Jarvis, and his motorcycle adventure across America. On his bike, he had the Indian deity Kokopelli painted on his gas tank. Because of some issues at the time with Native Americans, the producer, Robert Justman, decided to use the all-seeing eye symbol found on the back of a dollar bill. Based on my observations, the decal was centered vertically, and the point at the top of the decal was just behind the gas cap. For this tribute bike build, I bought a reproduction speedometer tachometer housing that is similar to the speedometer and tachometer housing that was stock on a 1968 and 1969 Sportster, and also used on the Bronson bikes. I then bought and installed an aftermarket speedometer and tachometer and bolted the unit on the bike. The Sissy Bars used on the Bronson bike was a hollow tube Schwinn bicycle Sissy Bar that was cut down to approximately 16 inches. I figured out how it was mounted by watching the episode Mating Dances for Tendergrass. In that episode, two Native Americans stole parts off of Bronson's bike, and when they returned them, you can see how a piece of metal was attached to the bottom of the Sissy Bar at about a 90-degree angle. Studying the model box photo, you can see that the end was crimped to wedge between the fender and the Fender Struts. The added-on 90-degree metal piece fit in behind the Fender Strut. On the Sissy Bar that Peter built, he has a piece of metal welded on that allows the Sissy Bar to be bolted on at the rear Fender Strut mount. I replaced the stock Fender Struts that had two extra holes for mounting the turn signals for correct Fender Struts used on a 68 and 69 Sportster. I then drilled a 1/4-inch hole in the side of the Fender Strut where the reflector would have been mounted to match the Fender Struts in the photo of the Bronson bike on the model box. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you liked this video, and stay tuned for video 37, where I will continue the build process of my Bronson Tribute bike. And as Bronson used to say, hang in there.